beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of Story Trip. Have you ever considered why faith? Or said to yourself, faith is useless? Well, Miss Paulina Kumah is our guest for today, and she's going to share her story of her journey of faith. It's going to be blessed, I can assure you that, so stay tuned. Good morning, Auntie Paulina.
Good morning, City.
Thank you for joining us here today.
Thank God.
So where did it all begin?
I think it all began with my upbringing. I came out from a broken home. My parents separated when I was a baby. My brother, I was born shortly after that, the marriage. So life was never the same for my mother. So we grew up in a little store by the roadside in Congo, right behind the market. And as far as I can remember, we had this little shop. So we slept in there, sold everything sellable. So I believe as soon as I could walk, I started selling. So I sold everything sellable. I carried everything you can imagine on my head, from cooked food to clothing to foodstuffs, whatever. By God's grace, I was blessed with a big head. So, and then my mom at that time, I believe through all the difficulties, because that was her third marriage. So, that was the second marriage, and after that, so by the time I was growing up, they had also gone through 2 other marriages, which also broke. So this kind of drew her close to the Lord. And we saw her pray. We saw her pray about everything. But when people ask me when I gave my life to Christ, I can't even tell, because I believe right from the very, He led us to the Lord. Not just took us to church, but He actually led us to the Lord. So early in the morning, by 5 o'clock, when she's up, she's been maybe up too much of the time through the night. She's praying, we didn't have the blessing of the light. So her Bible was filled with candle wax, and then by 5 o'clock, He woke us up to pray. And we had to pray about everything. I used to urinate in bed. If you wake me up 3 times a week to urinate, I urinate 3 times more in bed. So my prayer was just 2. And I used to have this cough every month, almost every month, persistently, consistently I was coughing. And I remember the medication was Lucifruta. So after buying so much of it, we resorted to prayer. So every morning when I got up, my prayer was, Erade mami wa inyai, Erade mami nya jumso. This was my constant prayer. And every day, Mom taught me to pray that prayer. Honestly, I don't know when the cough stopped, and I don't know when I stopped urinating in bed. Somehow, in addition to, buying every medicine available, God touched me. Then along the line, I remember so well, I had to live with my grandmother in Bogu. And my grandma would always take me along with her to the morning prayer time. At the time, I was in nursery. So you can imagine how old I was. But she would take me along. She would carry me to take me along to the morning prayer time. And one time we were returning, and the whole sky was so dark, with the storm. There was a storm coming. You couldn't, and our places were actually filled with gullies. In American, we call it Monchimonka. There are gullies all over the place because of the ocean. So every now and then you find there's a little gully with a plank. So we got to one gully like that. And because it was so dark, we were not holding the torch, we couldn't find where the plank was. But as soon as we got by that gutter, lightning struck. to show us exactly where the plan was. I mean, my little mind, under 5, I can still vividly remember that. So as I grew up, the Lord would always bring it back to me, along with this scripture in Psalm 32 verse 8. I will lead you along the best pathway for your life. I will guide you with my eyes, and I will watch over your progress. This is how one of the translations put it.
So has it affected you positively or negatively?
Oh yes, it has affected me positively. Selling made me know how to bargain, how to interact with people, how to be versatile, how to walk, any length of distance without getting tired. I remember in 1969 we moved to Accra. My mom moved to Accra earlier on and brought us to Accra in 1969. We were living at Buashi. So Buashi, I was selling bread. So I knew, but that time, North condition was really not developed. So there were a lot of mango trees, so it was just a joy in the morning going around selling. If I was going to school in the afternoon, I would sell in the morning. I was going in the evening, in the morning I would sell in the afternoon. And after selling, loading your tray with mangoes, and sometimes that could be the lunch. And I remember so well one day, my mom got up and said, by that time I was my kid brother, Paulina, so we got to the bedroom, we got on our knees, we started praying. So as we were praying, we had a knock on the door. And the house was such that we had a veranda. So it was the veranda that we met our visitors and everything. It was behind our window. So inside the house, nobody really came in there, but the person was knocking on the door inside the house. So my mother opened the door, and there was this lady standing there with a tray full of bread. So my mother said I should bring it to you. And normally what happened was that we had 2 bakers that we collected bread from. And normally you will go and collect the bread, and then you come and sell. Then you go and pay. In fact, the bread we collected the last time, we had finished chopping the money, chopping the capital and the profit and everything. And this lady had paid. We knew the lady had paid, but we couldn't go to, because we needed to send the money. We didn't have it. And nobody ever brought the bread to you. You had to go. And this particular woman was a fetish priestess who didn't respect anybody. But that morning, God asked this fetish priestess to send a girl to bring us bread. I remember it was 5 cedis. It was a whole tray full of bread. So my mother turned to me and said, "Can you eat all?" So quickly I got some, we ate some, and then I had to go and sell. And that picture had never left me. So when I got married, we were married for 35 years. There was nothing like my husband hasn't put chop money. There was nothing like chop money in the house, because at the back of my mind, it is God who provides. Then in secondary school, I was at that time, mommy had died, and I was living with my daddy. I had to move to stay with my daddy, my stepmother, and my siblings. And there was no relationship, but that bonding was not really there. My father was very harsh too, so there was no friendship. Okay, so come time to go to school, I'll tell my kid brother, go and tell Kokacha that is a question. And then whatever daddy could afford, just give it to me. So I would just buy a few provisions, that was all the money could afford to buy. And then I'll buy 1 toilet roll. And that 1 toilet roll was supposed to be for my period. I think I afford to buy sanitary towel or cotton wool, because it was too expensive. And with this, that was all I had. So I came to an agreement with God. I said, God, you know what? I don't want to go and borrow money from anybody to buy sanitary towel or toilet roll for my period. So when this toilet roll gets finished, I'm going to use it just for my period. So you can imagine what I'll be using. Don't ask immediately. When it gets finished, let my period wait until I have money to buy the next toilet roll. And that's exactly what the Lord did. So sometimes 1.5 months, sometimes even nearing 2 months, if I don't have that, the next toilet roll for my period will not come. So I remember when I got married and I went to see the guy and he asked me, what is your period pattern like? I said, my period, it comes when I like. There's something wrong with you. I said, no, it's God who is wrong with me. And so with all this, I saw that it is God who provides. So there was no problem in our home over money, over there, and we got married with nothing. I mean nothing. You understand? I had to spell nothing. When we don't even have enough alphabets to spell the nothing. We had nothing. And constantly, continuously, sometimes Daddy would get up and go to town to go and see whether you could get something to bring home. And I will lay the table. I said, God, you know what, today we want to eat this one. We want to eat the rice and oil. We want to eat. One day I said, today I want to eat a coin and snails. And guess what? I remember that particular day when I gave this coin list to them. I was there when this woman came, rations. Oh, funny, my smart because on come market. I found one, but I hadn't said one thing to that man. The woman just sent a child to the market to go and buy all the ingredients that I needed for that. So we have seen God providing food, providing resources, providing impossible stuff. So faith works. Faith works.
Faith works.